Oxycodone, a name that has become synonymous with both relief and despair. It's a name that sends chills down the spines of many, evoking images of pain, addiction, and loss. This little pill, often disguised as a lifesaver, has a dark side that many are unaware of until it's too late. While it serves a crucial purpose in the medical world, providing relief to those in severe pain, its potential for abuse and addiction is staggering and often underestimated. This essay will delve into the shadowy world of oxycodone, exposing its dangers and the devastating impact it has had on countless lives. From the streets to the suburbs, no community is immune. We'll explore its legitimate uses, the harrowing stories of those caught in its grip, and the role of pharmaceutical companies in this ongoing crisis. These companies, driven by profit, have often downplayed the risks. This isn't just about pills, it's about people. People who have dreams, families, and futures that are being stolen by addiction. People who have lost their lives, their families, and their futures to a drug that was meant to help. The grief and loss are immeasurable. It's time to shed light on this dark corner of the pharmaceutical industry and fight for a future free from the grip of opioid addiction. Together, we can advocate for change, support those in recovery, and prevent further tragedies. Oxycodone is an opioid, a type of drug that relieves pain. It works by interacting with the brain, blocking pain signals and producing feelings of euphoria. Doctors prescribe it for moderate to severe pain, often after surgery or for chronic conditions. While effective for pain management, oxycodone is highly addictive. Its chemical structure is similar to heroin, triggering the brain's reward system and leading to cravings and dependence. The euphoric effects of oxycodone are short-lived, leading users to chase the high with increasingly larger doses. This dangerous cycle can quickly spiral into addiction with devastating consequences for individuals, families, and communities. Opioid addiction doesn't discriminate. It can affect anyone, anywhere, at any time. It affects people from all walks of life, regardless of age, race, or socioeconomic status. From the bustling city streets to the quiet rural towns, no community is immune. It often starts with a legitimate prescription for pain relief. A simple visit to the doctor can set the stage for a life-altering struggle. A person may be recovering from surgery, managing a chronic illness, or dealing with an injury. These situations often require strong painkillers to manage the discomfort. As they take the medication as prescribed, their body develops a tolerance. This means that over time, the same dose no longer provides the same relief. They may need higher doses to achieve the same pain relief. This escalation can happen gradually, almost imperceptibly. This tolerance can quickly turn into dependence, and before they know it, they're trapped in the throes of addiction. What started as a solution becomes a problem of its own. The withdrawal symptoms from oxycodone are excruciating, making it extremely difficult to quit cold turkey. The body rebels against the absence of the drug. Nausea, vomiting, muscle aches, insomnia, and intense cravings are just some of the horrors that await those trying to break free. The physical and emotional toll can be overwhelming, making recovery a daunting journey. Behind the statistics and medical jargon are real people whose lives have been shattered by oxycodone addiction. Let's meet Sarah, a young woman who injured her back in a car accident. Prescribed oxycodone for pain, she soon found herself dependent on the drug. What started as a way to manage pain became a desperate struggle for her next fix. Then there's Michael, a successful businessman who became addicted to oxycodone after a knee surgery. As his addiction spiraled, he lost his job, his family, and his home. These stories are not unique. They are repeated thousands of times across the country, painting a grim picture of the devastating impact of oxycodone addiction. Section 5. Big Pharma's role: profits over people. The opioid crisis cannot be discussed without addressing the role of pharmaceutical companies. These companies, driven by profit, aggressively marketed oxycodone and other opioids, downplaying their addictive potential. They flooded the market with these drugs, often through misleading marketing campaigns that targeted doctors and patients. Their sales representatives pushed these drugs as safe and effective, with minimal risk of addiction. This aggressive marketing, coupled with a lack of education about the risks of opioids, created a perfect storm for an epidemic. Doctors, often under pressure to alleviate pain and misled by pharmaceutical companies, overprescribe these drugs, fueling the crisis. Section 6. The lawsuits holding corporations accountable. In recent years, there has been a growing movement to hold pharmaceutical companies accountable for their role in the opioid crisis. This movement has gained momentum as more and more people become aware of the devastating impact of opioid addiction on individuals, families, and communities. Numerous lawsuits have been filed against these companies, alleging that they misled the public and medical professionals about the addictive nature of their products. These legal battles are complex and involve extensive investigations, expert testimonies, and a thorough examination of the company's internal documents and marketing practices. States, cities, and individuals have come forward, seeking justice for the devastation caused by opioid addiction. They are demanding accountability and reparations for the lives lost and the communities torn apart by this crisis. These legal actions are not just about financial compensation, they are about seeking justice and preventing future harm. They argue that these companies prioritize profits over people, fueling an epidemic for financial gain. The evidence presented in court often reveals a disturbing pattern of negligence and greed, where the well-being of patients was sacrificed for the sake of higher profits. These lawsuits are a step towards accountability, forcing these companies to confront the consequences of their actions. Successful verdicts and settlements can lead to significant changes in how these companies operate, ensuring that they adhere to ethical practices and prioritize patient safety. They are also shedding light on the need for stricter regulations and greater transparency in the pharmaceutical industry. This increased scrutiny can drive legislative changes, leading to more robust oversight and better protection for consumers. The ultimate goal is to create a safer, more responsible pharmaceutical industry that serves the public good. Section 7. The opioid crisis, a national emergency. The overprescription and misuse of oxycodone and other opioids have led to a national health crisis. The statistics are staggering. Every day, more than 130 people in the United States die after overdosing on opioids. The economic burden of the opioid crisis is immense, costing the U.S. economy billions of dollars each year in healthcare costs, lost productivity, and criminal justice expenses. This crisis affects everyone. It doesn't discriminate based on age, race, or socioeconomic status. It's time to treat this epidemic with the urgency it deserves. Section 8. Breaking the chains of addiction, treatment and recovery. Overcoming opioid addiction is a long and challenging journey, but recovery is possible. There are various treatment options available, including medication-assisted treatment, counseling, and support groups. Medication-assisted treatment combines medications like methadone or buprenorphine with counseling and behavioral therapies to help individuals manage cravings and withdrawal symptoms. Counseling provides a safe and supportive environment for individuals to address the underlying causes of their addiction, develop coping mechanisms, and rebuild their lives. Support groups like Narcotics Anonymous offer a sense of community and peer support, reminding individuals that they are not alone in their recovery. Section 9. Prevention and education, empowering ourselves. Preventing opioid addiction requires a multifaceted approach that includes education, responsible prescribing practices, and increased access to treatment. Educating ourselves and our loved ones about the risks of opioids is crucial. Understanding how these drugs work, their addictive potential, and the signs of overdose can save lives. Doctors and healthcare providers play a vital role in curbing the opioid crisis. They need to adopt responsible prescribing practices, carefully assessing a patient's need for opioids, exploring alternative pain management options, and educating patients about the risks involved. Section 10. A call to action, demand change. We cannot afford to be complacent in the face of this epidemic. We must demand change from our elected officials, healthcare providers, and pharmaceutical companies. We need stricter regulations on the marketing and distribution of opioids, increased funding for addiction treatment and recovery programs, and greater accountability for those who fueled this crisis. Let's raise our voices and demand a future free from the grip of opioid addiction. Contact your representatives, support organizations fighting this epidemic, and educate yourself and others about the risks of opioids. Section 11. Conclusion. A future free from opioid addiction. The dark side of oxycodone is a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of opioid addiction. But amidst the despair, there is hope. By shedding light on this issue, holding those responsible accountable and advocating for prevention, treatment, and recovery, we can create a future where opioid addiction is a distant memory. This is a call to action for everyone. Let's work together to break the chains of addiction and build a healthier, safer future.